mentioning Nintendo 11.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da, bum, bum. Bring. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I am Marcus Grant alongside Parker Bell. Rumor has it that Greg Bergman is somewhere in the vicinity and could be popping in just a few minutes. But a lot going on. Happy Wednesday. Happy Kershaw Day, Parker. It's a huge Kershaw Day today.
Happy huge Kershaw Day. 3 away, of course, as we all know. So all eyes will be on the big Southpaw. So we're excited for tonight. And of course, we're going to react to yesterday. Yamamoto finally getting run support. We've been calling for it all year, and he got it. So it's going to be a good one, and I'm excited.
Absolutely excited. We will dive into last night's game. The Dodgers get a win 6-1 over the Chicago White Sox. And tonight, Clayton Kershaw takes the mound 3 strikeouts away from the milestone of 3,000 in his career. So we will get into that as well. But first, as always, want to give a shout out to the folks at Los Angeles International Airport. They are transforming the travel experience, saving guest time. A lot of changes coming, including the People Mover train, which hopefully is up and running early next year. For more information, you can go to flylax.com/transforminglAX. So let's actually get started. Do a quick recap of last night's ball game. We have been asking for a long, long time for the Dodgers to just please give some run support to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And wouldn't you know it, Parker, they come up with 4 runs in the first inning. If I'm Yamamoto, I mean, I'm excited. I might have had a mild heart attack on the bench in the dugout because he got 5 runs of support in the entire month of June. His first start in July, to give him 4 runs in the first inning. It was kind of everything we were hoping to see from the Dodger offense behind Yama.
Something like we've mentioned, he hadn't seen all season. And then, of course, on the back end, the bullpen cleaned up the rest. So it was a great overall performance from the Dodgers, something that's the type of performance we should expect to see when the Dodgers are moving on all cylinders. But it was great to see the productive 4-run first inning. I mean, it broke the ice. And honestly, I think you make a good point. Like, maybe I'm a little surprised he did have such a good performance because I also would have been shocked. Like, oh, wait. I don't have to pitch perfectly. I can actually relax. But he didn't relax. He held tight, and of course, flawless 7 innings, 8 Ks. I think only 3 hits allowed. So
yep.
Great performance.
3 hits, 1 walk, 98 pitches through 7 innings. Was I'm gonna say a classic Yamamoto performance. I mean, this is only year 2 of him with the Dodgers, but it's one of those performances that we sort of come to expect from him at this point, and definitely going out having that 4-run lead when he took the mound in the second inning, I'm sure gave him a little bit of a chance to exhale. He was on point, was very aggressive, especially with the fastball, looked very good last night. Granted, look, it wasn't a world-beating team, right? The White Sox are a bad team, but in his credit, he took advantage of it, was very aggressive, had the 8 strikeouts, did everything he needed to do, and saved the bullpen as well. You saw Dreyer for an inning, you saw Bonda for an inning, mostly just to kind of get some work and get through those last couple innings. But a fantastic night for Yamamoto. One thing I do want to mention, and it was in the chat, Denny Cortez makes the point, 30 minutes, actually at this point, 25 minutes left to vote for All-Stars. And I bring it up because Andy Pages had another good night at the plate last night. 2 for 4, drove in a pair of runs, had a run scored as well. His batting average up to 294 right now. So while you guys are watching this, listening to this, head on over, vote for All-Stars. You got 25 minutes left to stuff the ballot box, if you will, for Andy Pages to make sure that he gets to Atlanta because he absolutely deserves it. I mean, look, we said a lot about Pages yesterday, Parker, but I mean, there's just, it feels like of all the guys, we know Ohtani's going to be there, Freeman's going to be there, but really, I would say right behind those 2 guys, Andy Pages is maybe the next most deserving. Will Smith too. Those are the next most deserving Dodgers besides Ohtani and Freeman for sure.
No, exactly. I think, and we've been having discussions all week about, are the Dodgers going to roll out, the most starters since the 2015 Royals, who I think had 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a possibility. But I mean, you look at Andy, the clutch production, the runs saved, from every small metric that you wouldn't honestly expect to say now because based off of his like first month performance. So the fact that he's been able to turn it around and be an all-star level performer, he definitely deserves it. He's on the best team in the league and he's carrying this offense outside of Shohei and, as you mentioned, Will Smith. So when you're like the third best guy, when you have a team of Freddie and Mookie, that's all-star level worthy. And I get that there's a lot of other names that are deserving, and maybe this will sound like homers, but Andy Pages, you deserve it. Phase 2, everybody go get over and vote. Go get over and vote.
Absolutely. Go get over and vote for Andy Pages. It's fantastic. And I think you touched on a thing, too, that, we spent a lot of time talking about what he has done offensively because the turnaround has been absolutely remarkable. I mean, he actually leads the team in RBIs right now, which is not a thing you would ever imagine saying. I mean, second behind only Shohei when it comes to home runs so far this year. But you touched on the fact that defensively, too, has been such a huge improvement in his game. I mean, early in the year, a couple of questionable defensive plays. He sort of had Teo Hernandez kind of coaching him up during the games there over in, on the outfield. We had the really just boneheaded base running mistakes early in the year. What
I almost
was it?
forgot about those running running through the signs,
running through stop signs, just like taking extra bases when there was no reason to. There were so many things about him early in the season that just suggested he wasn't going to be here very long, right? I mean, there was a point when it's like, well, between Pages and Outman, like who's going to get that last spot? And obviously, one guy has surged ahead of the other and has had a fantastic year. I mean, I think was it the game in Philadelphia when he was on the bench and just, sort of in tears, just distraught with himself. And it feels like from that moment, everything has turned around for Andy Pages. And so would love to see him in Atlanta for the All-Star game for sure. So we joke, by the way, Greg may be on his way. We're not sure. We thought we saw him. We're not sure. But for those of you, a little peek behind the curtain. In our text chat that we have, one of the running jokes has been, it seems like whenever Michael Conforto does something big or does something notable, that somehow Greg can't be on the Blue Review the next day.
He's ducking everybody. Come on, Greg.
He's ducking that Michael Conforto heat, right? I mean, last night, he only had the one hit, but it was a big one, a two-run single in the first inning. I don't really know what else to say about it beyond that, Parker, other than like it's nice to see him contribute, but still, he's still a long ways away from, I think, making everybody feel confident about him in the lineup.
Yeah, a long ways away is probably the correct terms, but Yamamoto could definitely buy the man some dinner. He built the momentum there with his first inning, 2-run single, like you mentioned, and built that momentum and the lead early on. And although he didn't really log any additional hits, we'll take a ribby early on from Conforto, and we keep talking about it on the Blue Review. If Greg does pop in, we know that's the first thing that is going to be
the first thing that we ask him about. Yeah, I mean, look, he's hitting $175. I mean, I guess with a 1-for-4, it does raise the average a little bit, but definitely not the guy that I think people are feeling confident about in left field for the remainder of the season. So we'll see what happens there. But credit where it's due. Big hit to Conforto. You mentioned him.
He's over there.
He's over there. He's in a meeting
somewhere.
There he is. He's back there somewhere in a meeting. He's talking about Yamamoto buying him dinner. Maybe not like a full steak dinner, but I don't know, get a double or something.
Yeah, like Wendy's 4-for-4 or something.
Yeah, there you go. Something like that to kind of make things, sort of cheer him up, pat him on the back for what he did last night. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much more time, any more input on last night's game. I mean, 6-1, the Dodgers took care of business against a bad team. That's, I think the long and short of it there.
Yeah, I think seeing Shohei, he was going to do it regardless, but being the quickest, and you sent this stat, of course, yesterday, being the quickest Dodger ever to reach 30 before, I believe it was before the All-Star break. I think that was the exact stat.
I think it was the fewest games. He reached 30 home runs in 86 games. That is the quickest in terms of games amount of time for a Dodger to do it. I believe Duke Snyder did it in 87 games. The other thing I noticed about that, by the way, though, is that none of those guys, 50 home runs is a huge, huge number. But none of those
Yeah.
guys reached 50 home runs
So the
at
highest
any
would have
point.
been Bellinger in
Mhm.
19 when he was on a great pace, and he only finished with 47. Well, I say only, but
Oh yeah, only only
yeah.
47 home
Yeah.
runs. Uh,
Well, after seeing some of these guys like Judge and stuff,
yeah,
it's fair to say. But Otani, let's see what's next. I
yeah.
mean, maybe he gets another 30. Chat, I don't know if you think he can pull it off, but let us know.
But yeah, I mean, look, 54 last year. He's at 30 with I think I did 76 games left to go in the season. So certainly 50 is very much in reach. So we'll see if he gets hot again in July after kind of a down June. June was not a great month for Shohei, so maybe he can get hot again in July and get himself back to that 50 homer mark, that 50 home run pace, and maybe surpass that. Who knows? We shall see. But let's get to what we're all here to talk about
Yes.
today. It is not only Kershaw Day, it is the potential for a milestone Clayton Kershaw Day. 3 strikeouts away from 3,000 in his career. It would make him the 20th pitcher overall to reach that mark and just the fourth left-hander to reach 3,000 strikeouts. The other three would be Randy Johnson with 4,875, Steve Carlton, 4,136, and CC Sabathia, shout out Vallejo, California, 3,093. So those are your three Southpaws with 3,000 strikeouts. Clayton Kershaw would be the fourth. And I was thinking about this last night, actually a couple days ago, and I looked it up. Porker, he might be the last one, at least for a
Hmm.
very, very long time. Um, I was looking of the guys who are active, who have even a shot at it. Chris Sale right now is just under 500 away. But he's in year 15, although he's continuing to pitch very well. Garrett Cole needs about 750 strikeouts to get there. I mean, Charlie Morton is, at 2,100 and
60 years old, too.
yeah, exactly. So, it feels incredibly unlikely. I mean, could this be that Clayton Kershaw is the last of the 3,000 strikeout guys?
Honestly, I mean, you mentioned Sale, and he's still performing at a high level, so that could be the one name I see still reaching it. But if you
Yeah,
want to put that term over them, the last of a dying breed, I think that's accurate. We might not see, um, well, for one, a southpaw at least reach that
yeah,
in our lifetime, and that's okay. I think there were names that were brought up who we might see, some of these rookies like Skeens. But the thing is, with the rate of injuries, Kershaw's just longevity and how long he played without being injured really helped his case. And now we're seeing all these young guys get hurt too much. So I think it's the case, and I'm excited tonight. I think the line's at 4.5. So he's been really performing well recently, and it is going to happen tonight. I'm guaranteeing it. I'm Charles Barkley. Guarantee.
I wouldn't be Charles Barkley because he's pretty bad with his
Yeah, he's
guarantees. His pick, he's pretty awful. But I'm looking at Kersh's game logs from this season, and the first couple starts, obviously him working his way back, weren't particularly great. I mean, he had two strikeouts in his first start, one in his second one against the Mets, and that was a game I believe that that was the rain game, I think, where he had to,
yeah.
he pitched early. It rained like in the second inning or whatever, and then he didn't come back after the long rain delay. 3 against the Guardians, 2 against the Mets at Dodger Stadium. But since then, 7 against the Cardinals, 5 against the Giants, 4 against the Nats, 5 against the Rockies. So as long as he keeps up that pace, it is a lock for it to happen tonight. Any thoughts? Any thoughts as to who it might be? Who might be the 3,000th strikeout? Because I have my own theory on this one.
That's curious. I'm curious about there might be a few knocks. The one thing about Kershaw this year is that while he is performing well, he is getting hit hard.
Yeah,
So you look at how they performed against Yamamoto last night, not a lot of hits, and against the bullpen also. You'd think they maybe would turn that around a little bit and find some hits against Kershaw. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe who's in that 6-7 hole. I think that might be a good, like, maybe that fourth inning is when we might see it. It might not be early that he
Mhm.
gets to the 3Ks, but hey, maybe he'll just be dialed in. I mean, he
I
might just be
mean,
dialed in from the
here's the
jump.
thing: if he could somehow reach back and summon vintage Kershaw for a night, like it would be amazing if he somehow strikes out the side to get it in the first inning.
Right.
Uh, I don't expect that's going to happen. So my working theory,
Ooh, I
and
think I know where you're going with
and
this.
this is not a shot against this gentleman in particular, but Miguel Vargas.
Yep, there it is.
Just it feels like the final insult to Miguel Vargas to, having gone from being a part of this organization, and we certainly thank him for his contributions during his time as a Dodger. But he gets traded midway through last year from the best team in baseball to the worst team in the history of baseball. But his trade helped bring pieces over to Los Angeles that helped them win, bringing over Michael Kopech and bringing over guys that helped them win. Uh, it just feels like sort of the final insult if he ends up being Kershaw's 3,000th career strikeout.
Yeah, and he struck out last night, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He had been performing pretty well in the month of June, so we always love to see former Dodgers, succeeding. I could see it. Just it's serendipitous. It's
Yeah.
like the fans know him. He was just hanging out with Pajes before the series started, so he's already kind of hanging with his Dodgers friends.
Right.
And why not etch yourself in Dodgers history in some form, even though you're not with the team anymore?
Yeah, Ruben Flores brings up the point that Vargas did get his World Series ring yesterday, so he did get to at least have his moment there, and look, he certainly earned it, right, for not only what he did with the team, but just again, he didn't ask to be traded; it was part of the deal, but it did bring over some really key pieces that helped them win the World Series last year. So it was nice to see him celebrated before that. Jasmeet saying, "Will Vargas do his meme face?" Jasmeet, don't worry. I've got the image on my phone locked and loaded for if
Yeah.
he is the 3,000th strikeout, I will post it on social media because it would just be fitting the sad Miguel Vargas face if it turns out to be that. Um, JF asking, I wonder what Joe Davis will come up with for the 3,000 call. He's usually good at big moments. Um,
Mm.
you know, I, look, Freddie Meat or Gibby Meat Freddie is one of the all-time calls. I'm sure Joe Davis will have something ready to go for that moment when 3,000 hits. So looking forward to that one. Um, Beyond that, though, obviously the Dodgers need to keep winning. They continue to open up space in the National League West right now. They start today 8 games up on the Padres, 9 games up on the Giants. We talked about this yesterday, though, Parker. I mean, this is still a really prime opportunity for the Dodgers to continue to open up that lead and maybe get this thing around double digits in the very near future.
No, it's very possible. I mean, the Dodgers just keep winning. I mean, 54 and 32 at this point. There's a reason why there's so many Dodgers who are up for this All-Star game,
Yeah.
and the way that they've been playing, I think that maybe they can push this to, I think what you said, around near 9 to 10, which would be absolutely insane going into the All-Star break based off of all the talk that we did early in the show and early in the season. So I think that here we go with the Dodgers. I thought maybe Greg was going to pop in for a second, but he kept walking past. So it looks like we might not get Bergie for the Blue Review. But
I know he really wanted to talk about this. The good news is hopefully he's here tomorrow, so he'll have a chance to talk about it and recap, and we can all celebrate and reminisce together. Talking about, though, the teams behind the Dodgers right now in the standings. I mean, the Padres are scuffling. The Giants are scuffling. They went through a stretch where they went 1-6 combined against the Marlins and the White Sox. They've lost 2 to the Diamondbacks. And it's like I'm looking at schedules right now, Parker. And for the Padres, they still got 2 more in Philadelphia against the Phillies. They've got the Rangers, who are, they're not great, but they're not terrible either. They've got 4 against the Diamondbacks, who right now are kind of closing in on those other 2 teams. Then 3 more against the Phillies. So the Padres have a really rough stretch going. The Giants right now are still dealing with the Diamondbacks for a couple more. They've got the A's, who, look, the A's are feisty. They're not necessarily good, but they're feisty and can cause problems. Then they've got to deal with the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Braves, the Mets. So the Giants in a really tough stretch right now
Yeah.
too. What was once a really tight race and one that we thought was going to go all the way to September, there might be some breathing room coming up in the near future.
And then some. I mean, the way baseball works, you never know. And teams get hot. Of course,
Yes.
we've mentioned the Padres, and we've seen them before in the past go on runs towards the end of the season where they just figure it out. But this is a different Padres team. They really are lacking some of that, consistency that they've had in some of their past teams. The Giants, very similar to the Padres right now. It's unique. I want to project the Dodgers at maybe still reaching that 104 to 105 mark
Mm-hmm.
overall, and I think that would have them finishing the season with at least a 10-game cushion. Because I don't see the Padres or Giants or really anyone for that matter in the NL West getting anywhere near
Yeah.
97, 98.
Well, and I think for those teams to make a run at this point, I would expect that both of those teams, unless something catastrophic happens in the next couple of weeks, I think both of those teams are probably going to make some big moves before the trading deadline to add some offense. I mean, you look at the National League, and both of them sit kind of near the bottom of the National League in terms of runs scored. Their pitching, for the most part, has been good and is what kept them afloat. They cannot generate any offense, and so I would think that you're going to see one or both of those teams try to add another bat. So far, the Rafael Devers thing hasn't seemed to provide a lot of dividends for the Giants. So I don't know if they try to add another bat. I don't know if the Padres try to add another bat as well. But I think that's the thing that would potentially keep them in the race if that's what they need to do. But for now, the Dodgers just continue to take care of business here. So,
It's it's Marcus. It's literally the Dodgers, and then everybody else will just be one giant clump. I think
yeah,
there's maybe only 5 teams. I saw a tweet from Passon. I think it's either 4 or 5 teams who aren't within like 3 games of a playoff spot. So this year is going to be absolute madness when it gets to the playoffs, and the Dodgers are just going to be sitting with a 10-game lead. Whether that's good or bad, I mean, we've seen in the past when they got a little cushion, it could get a little testy. But
yeah.
that's another story for a future day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, I'm looking at the wild card standings right now in the National League. Right now, your division leaders are the Dodgers, Cubs, and Phillies. The Mets and Brewers would be your other wild cards, or the Mets. The Mets, Brewers, and Cardinals would be your other 3 wild card teams at this point. And where once back in May and early June, it looked like maybe the NL West would get 3 teams into the playoffs. That old axiom: if the playoffs started today, the Dodgers would be the only team from the NL West in the postseason right now. Padres half a game back, Giants a game and a half back. And don't look now, the Diamondbacks just 2.5 games back of the Padres, game and a half back of the Giants. So
here are the 9 teams, just to get a bigger picture of the discrepancy. Only 9 teams are all within 4 games of a playoff spot, and they're the Royals, Orioles, Braves, Marlins, A's, Pirates, Nationals, White Sox, Rockies.
okay,
So the names you would expect.
pretty much the names that you would expect, right?
Outside of that, outside of one other team who surprisingly is 500 and they're down south. All but 9 teams. All but 9 teams.
You know what? Shout out to the Halos, man. They're hanging tough right now, right? They're a game and a half out of that last wild card spot in the American League. There's certainly no guarantee that the Mariners stay hot. I mean, if Cal Raleigh goes south, who knows what happens with that team? So, shout out to the Halos, man. And best to Ron Washington, who I know is away from the team for the rest of the year.
Ron.
So, best to Uncle Ron. Hopefully, he gets healthy and ready to go. So you sort of said it. What inning do you think strikeout number 3K comes in? Is it 4th, 5th inning? When do you think it happens?
I have it at 4. I see him being a little amped up. He wants to put up a show for his Dodgers fans and for the Dodger Blue loyal. So I'm gonna go with the 4. But I like your pick of Miguel Vargas. I think it'll happen on Miguel.
All right, so let's
time around the lineup.
There we go. So let's stamp it in here. We're saying Miguel Vargas in the 4th inning. is strikeout number 3,000 for Clayton Kershaw. Looking forward to seeing it happen. So we will be here, of course, tomorrow to talk all about it. I'm sure that Travis and DeMarco coming up next here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel will preview some of that as well as we get ready for what will be one of the biggest Kershaw days we have seen in his illustrious Hall of Fame career. So thanks to all of you, as always, for hanging out in the chat. You got 5 minutes left. Go vote.
Go vote. Vote for
Vote,
Pajes.
hashtag vote Pajes. You got 5 minutes left to go to MLB.com and vote for your all-star. So make sure you get that done before you go on to anything else. Thanks to LAX as well. For Parker, I am Marcus. This has been Blue Review presented by LAX. Back with you tomorrow, 8:30 to 8:55. Let's go, Kershaw. See you tomorrow.
Blue Review.